Here we go, back at it again, Savage Time TV. It's me, Brandon Nichols, your host, and today I gave you guys my top 10 players of the decade, and I'm gonna give you guys my top teams of the decade. It's only gonna be 5. We'll keep it nice, short, and sweet for you guys. We're gonna start off with our honorable mentions. My favorite team of the decade, the Chicago Bulls. You guys know we used to put in that work with Derrick Rose. We had the youngest MVP. We had a defensive player of the year, and Joakim Noah. We used to go back and forth. You guys know we used to go back and forth with the Heat. Fortunately, we could never get past them, but we were the number 1 seed in the conference two or 3 years. We were always top 5, always top 3 in the league. It was always us, the Heat, the Celtics for a good 3 or 4 years in that rivalry. I think the Bulls definitely deserve an honorable mention. Also, the young OKC Thunder. Everybody knows the Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant. They went to that finals against LeBron. They lost, but they were one of the best young, exciting teams that the NBA's ever seen. And the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets always fall short to the Warriors, but they took the analytical approach. They were one of the teams that brought analytics into the game, only shooting threes or taking layups. They got the great James Harden, and I think they've definitely supplied us with great moments in sports, in basketball. Coming in at number 5, we got those guys that are north of the border, Toronto Raptors. They just won the title. They're the reigning NBA champions, so they get number 5. They've also always been a consistently top team for the last 5 years, maybe in the Eastern Conference. The reason why they're so low is they could never get past LeBron. They could have been in the finals a couple more times, but they never could get past LeBron. LeBron was like there, just like he owned them. Like that was their dad, LeBron James. And the baby dinosaurs, the Toronto Raptors. But they get number 5 because they did win that title. They took down the Golden State Warriors. A little bit of help, but they took them down. Number 4, those guys, San Antonio Spurs. This is more the early 2010s. We remember them from beating Miami. Those days with Tony Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan. They kind of fizzled out. But in the beginning of the 2010s, this decade, everybody knew. One thing you can count on is paying taxes and the San Antonio Spurs being in the playoffs. You knew the San Antonio Spurs were going to be present. You know they're going to win 50 more games, 50 or plus games. You know they're going to be a hard out in the playoffs. They were just basically professionalism personified. They're like the New England Patriots of basketball. San Antonio Spurs, they had a dynasty. It lasted for a little bit. They won 2 titles. They had 3 Hall of Famers, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan, and also Greg Pop. So maybe 4, because Greg Pop's going to get in there too. Number 3, the Eagles. LeBron James and D. Wade, they supplied us with some of the best basketball ever. Like the full court alley-oops, the decision, everything. And they used to kick my favorite team, the Bulls, out of the playoffs every year. But they've got the greatest player ever. Yeah, I said it. The greatest player ever played for them, LeBron James. They have probably the second best shooting guard ever, Dwayne Wade. Yes, I said it. Not Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. And they also it was a bona fide superstar, and I think he's also going to be a Hall of Famer, Chris Bosh. People like to sleep on Chris Bosh, but people like to forget. In Toronto, he was putting in work. So the Heat, they won those 2 titles. I think they definitely could have won more. But for this decade, I definitely think the Heat, because of what they meant and to what they gave everybody permission to do, because they say it was the Boston Celtics, but I kind of think that it was really the Miami Heat that showed everybody, hey, this is the way to go. You need 2 or 3 All-Stars to get together and win these titles, period. I think the Heat were the blueprint for that, and that's why they're number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2, we got the Golden State Warriors. Those guys, they basically were the dynasty of our decade. They got the most titles this year in this decade with, I think they got 4. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant gave them 2. Oh, no. They got 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, so, but they set the record for most wins single season. They had the unanimous MVP. They had KD all on one team. We all know about that. Took down LeBron and them twice. They redefined the game. All that happened in Oracle Arena, Golden State. This all happened with the Warriors and Steph Curry spearheading it. They basically rewrote the game. They rewrote history. They stopped LeBron from chasing, as people like to say, chasing Michael Jordan's 6 rings. They're the reason why that didn't happen. That's why they're number 2. Basically, the Golden State Warriors were just about almost the closest thing to perfection. Almost the closest. That's why they're number 2. Number 1 is the guys that stopped it, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And people want to say, why? How could they be your number 1? They only got that one title. That one title mattered. They beat the Golden State Warriors when they were on the track to be the best team ever. They had set the record for most wins. They were up 3-1, and that team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, came and beat them. They took down that giant, and you keep what you kill. So I feel like Cleveland gets the number 1 spot, and they had the best player, LeBron James. So they're my number 1 team of the decade because they took down who everybody thinks is the top team of the decade. You can say what you want. They lost to LeBron. Up 3-1, LeBron took them out. Nobody thought that was going to happen. It's outside of Cleveland, period. Nobody thought that LeBron and them were going to come back, especially beat them Game 7 in Oracle. It was ridiculous. And even in the early 2010s, you saw the Cavs, if LeBron was on the team, they were going to the finals. Period. They were going to the finals. So it's not like they were just good for that one year. They had made multiple finals appearances. They were always one of the top teams in the East, and it took it even a spot farther. And that ultimate icing on the cake was them taking out those Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that cemented them as the team of the decade, and I think that's what cemented LeBron as the greatest player ever. Honest, because he came back 3-1 on what is considered the best regular season team ever. Nobody else has done that, and I don't think nobody else would have done that. I think that accomplishment that they did kind of gets brushed under the rug because of what happened after once they got Kevin Durant. But nah, when everything all else being equal, when cards stacked up against them, pushed into a corner, when everybody counted them out, I counted them out. I didn't think they were going to win. They came back and won that, and I think that's probably the greatest accomplishment in almost sports this decade. So I'm going to give the Cleveland Cavaliers the number 1 team of the decade. Let me know what you think about my list. Let me know what your list is in the comment section below. Like, subscribe. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. And we're also on YouTube. Just type in Savage Time TV in the search bar. See you guys again soon.